welcome back to the next episode of our podcast, Lolly Q. Woohoo!
Hey,
I'm Lorian, and that was Q.
I'm Q. Yep, that's me.
And today we are going to be delving into our minds and discussing what happens after we fall asleep.
Ooh. Yes. Sigmund Freud, step up, my man.
Your heart out.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, so we're going to just discuss a bit about dreams and nightmares and like some causes and what we've experienced in the dreamscape. And yeah, that's pretty much what we've got planned. I hope you guys enjoy this because I think it's going to get a bit wild.
Feel ready to feel attacked.
Yeah.
By some of these analyses. I will say my dreamscape is the weirdest place. I mean, whose is it?
That's true. I suppose people who don't go to bed with anxiety.
True. I actually read that one of the most common dreams is like just doing normal shit. Like there are people who dream that they're just having an everyday day. Like imagine after work and like putting the kids to bed and like dealing with your husband or whatever, you still go to sleep and you gotta put the kids to bed. Imagine reliving that.
No, never. Not for me.
Couldn't
no,
be
thank
me.
You. No.
I'd rather be chased.
I would rather be chased, honestly. I can only take so much day
normality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rather give me running around in a mythical world to reliving my boring day, even if it is caused by stress or whatever.
Speaking of stress and reliving a normal day, many people have like their routines, like their bedtime routines. Like what's yours? Like what do you, because I feel like that also plays a part in
how you fall asleep,
your dreams and how your actual sleep pattern is affected. So,
yeah.
Like, what is your routine? What do you do before you go to bed, and what's your like ritual?
I suppose I do have a ritual. So usually
you sacrifice people to the gods.
I just I just take out my knife and go and kill people.
Oh jeez.
No, that's a joke. Calm down, everyone.
YouTube, don't report us.
Yeah. No, so what I basically do, I mean, I typically go to bed at around like 11:30. Well, I get into bed at around like 11:30.
I feel you. Yep.
Because I mean, I'm up. I can't go to sleep before that. And then it's pretty much lie in my bed watching TikToks or watching a YouTube video or reading something until I'm pretty much like, okay, it feels like sleep time. And then I will just kind of put my then again, I don't put my phone off because I will put a movie on
interesting,
to kind of just have the background noise because I hate the silence. I don't know, the silence makes me more restless than actually having something in the background. So it's,
I know a lot of people are like that.
So I usually just put on the same movie or whatever, so that it's not like, oh, I need to watch the movie,
Do you have a specific bedtime movie?
I use the Ghibli movies.
Oh yes, I think you talked about that.
That's what I use to go to bed. So like it depends. Like one week I will do like Howl's Moving Castle. The other week I'll do From Up on Poppy Hill. So it kind of just depends what movie I feel like falling asleep to. Some other days I'll do a different animated movie. It's usually an animated movie. Surprise. Never a series because I will start watching that.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
It's always got to be a movie you've seen as well.
Yeah. Even if it's a series I've seen, I'll start watching it. But usually, because I know I'll put on How to Train Your Dragon as well sometimes. A lot of my comfort movies end up being there. But I can't, obviously, something like The Road to El Dorado, I won't be able to fall asleep to because it's such a cool movie that I won't fall asleep to it.
Oh yes, that is one of the faves.
Yeah. So I feel like the Ghibli movies are just really nice movies to fall asleep to. And
They
then
are very gentle and
mm,
like picturesque.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
music's nice, and it's just a really calming,
Mm.
relaxing movie. And then
Yeah.
I'll probably drift off if for some reason I am feeling restless that evening. Depending on like how I feel. Usually, if I've been rolling around for like an hour or two, I'll flip to the other side of the
Kill
bed.
myself.
No, I'll flip to the other side of the bed and basically switch everything around so that my head is by my feet side of the bed. I don't know why that helps, but that helps me fall asleep. Yeah, that's my ritual. Nothing too fancy. How do you?
For me, I know when I was a kid, I loved falling asleep in front of the TV because like that activity and that like there's like the voices are calming and whatever. Like I feel like I can go to sleep. I used to also hate the silence in the dark. Wasn't a fan. But I think my sleeping patterns and stuff have changed like a lot. Like I remember a couple of years ago, I had really bad insomnia, for instance. Then again, my mental state was the reason for the really bad insomnia. But I remember taking something called, what was it called? Something with a P. I can't remember. It's gonna haunt me. But it's basically like an extra strength, like allergy tablet. But like it can also be used if you like put people under for surgery.
What?
For like, but please fact check me because I remember researching it and being like, is this safe for me to ingest? Because they were like for minor surgeries where you don't necessarily need to be asleep, but like, and I tell you, those things would knock me out, KO, brother. But like, yeah, that stuff. Oh wait, oh, it was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what it was. Damn it. Okay, it's fine. I will kick myself off.
Scream it at
but yeah,
me later.
Yeah. So that was like a while ago. I think last year I discovered that I have an uncanny ability to fall asleep within 5 minutes.
Must be nice.
It is. I'm enjoying it because I used to have a lot of like problems falling asleep. For many years, it would take me a lot to the point where like I tried to develop strats. Like sleeping strats. My go-to to like fall my routine is like I get into bed about like 10 and then it's internet time, it's revenge time, revenge bedtime, like so I'm like, okay, cool, it's now my time to do whatever I want. But I won't watch videos. That's the one thing I won't do because it keeps my brain too engaged and like interested. So I can't do YouTube or TikTok, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to. I mean, I did that a bit last year, but that's when I was like living with my boyfriend a little bit, and it's kind of different having someone next to you. I think it helped me fall asleep easier also. That could have also been a part of it because you just roll over and then you snuggle them and whatever. Gross. I'm kidding.
Ew, relationships.
But now I'm still, the habit is still carried on, like 5 minutes sleep. And I'll always insert myself into my favorite fictional world at the time. Like before I go to sleep, I daydream before I can dream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you,
at the moment,
are you a deep sleeper? Like,
yes.
When you sleep, nothing can wake you up.
It's mildly terrifying. My mom said she woke up screaming the other night because she had a leg cramp, and I was
out,
dead to the world, mate. Like I don't know why, but then on the other hand, if there's like a change in atmosphere, if the TV's on or the light comes on or whatever, then I'll wake up.
Yeah.
For that. Because I need darkness and silence now, which is like the exact opposite of me as a child. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how I get into things. Just kind of, I love inserting, like the daydreaming really helps to get in there. So yeah, that's my routine.
Yo, no, I can say that I'm a deep sleeper as well, though. Also, dead to the world. Like, I mean, sometimes our alarm does go off, and depending on like how tired I am, I'll like wake up and be like, oh, okay, shit, the alarm's going off, what's happening? um but then there's other days where I don't even hear it, and it's a pretty loud alarm, I'm not gonna lie.
Is it so it's not a phone alarm, it's like
It's the
an
house
old
alarm.
school. Oh, your house alarm goes off.
So because we have cats that like to mess with the
Okay.
beams outside, so
Okay.
yeah, so then I would either wake up and then go straight back to sleep and just be like, eh, or it's, oh my gosh, what's going on? Do I need to be worried? And then it's just completely not aware. And then the next morning, my parents will be like, hey, did you hear that? And I was like, nope.
Okay. I have a funny story.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this story. But I'm gonna tell it. I'm not gonna mention names. So a friend's brother, is a very, very, very deep sleeper, to the point where, if you wake him up, he's not awake, unless he's physically out of bed. He will sit up and have a full conversation with you, like blarely looking you in the eye, and still like won't be able to recall it later. So one day, I don't know what we needed from his car. I think it was like house keys or something like that.
Yeah.
But he had already gone to sleep.
Oh, no.
So we were like, hey man, where's the keys? And he's like, look here. Like he's literally dead. And he's just like, look here. You open the car, and like we're trying to for the longest time wake him up, right? And he got so frustrated to the point where he's like, okay, look here, you go to the car, you open the car door, look under the seat, and the house keys there. Okay, cool, best I can do. Back to sleep. It was so funny, man. And like his brother's the same as well.
Hectic. But have you ever, like in these instances, because I know that sometimes I'll kind of like, if someone comes and wakes me up in the morning, like on a weekend, I will maybe like register that they're there, but I think it's a dream.
Oh.
Like I don't register that it's actually happening in real life because I'm so like deep in my sleep. Has that ever happened to you?
I think so. Well, okay, it won't be in the morning. I think in the morning, I'm very stressed. I used to have this thing as a kid where if I like took a nap and someone woke me up, even to like the ripe old age of like 11 or 12, I would almost be in tears like when you woke me up because I would be freaked out and confused.
Oh, shame.
And normally that happens to like little babies, you know? I think, but I've carried that like waking up stress. So like I'm always like feeling like I need to be somewhere or do something. Yeah. So if you wake me up like on a weekday, I'm probably gonna get straight up. If you wake me up on a weekend, I'm gonna be like 5 minutes. Yeah. You know. But I think it's during the night where I'll have that in between phase of like, is this a dream or are you actually here? Because I've had that before.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's only on like when I know I can rest. Because finally, like I did we did some research before we obviously came in, just to kind of
big brain
delve into the dreamscape a bit more.
On Sigmund Freud.
But I was just thinking, because I was reading just like some like how dreams can be affected by how deep you sleep. So basically the gist of it is that the more or the less activity you've done during the day, the more or the less stressed you are, the more likely you are to dream. So like for me, if you're not busy, if you don't do stuff during the day, you typically, okay, I don't say if you don't do stuff, but if you're not like super active and you're not like running around, you know, doing your exercises and whatnot, you have a tendency to dream more than someone who is more active. It's very interesting. It's very weird. And like anxiety and stress also trigger dreams, obviously. So that's why I think for me in the mornings when I am like, that's when my brain starts clicking, okay, you're stressed again, you're a bit more anxious, you're waking up. And I think that's why that's when I start like getting the weird. Like that's when I'm like, okay, you
Okay,
came
I
to wake me
see.
up, but I think it's a
Yeah.
dream, but it's not.
Yeah. You know what the whole being active thing reminds me of? Like, you know, when moms like watch their kids like go wreak havoc for an entire day and they're up and down, they're screaming their tiny hearts out and whatever. And they're like, oh, he's gonna sleep well tonight, you know. I'm thinking, of
Yeah.
course, it makes sense that you won't dream because you'll be so exhausted, your brain will be so exhausted that it
Yeah.
doesn't have like the energy. Because I know that that also kind of affects it, like how you feel energy wise as well, like carries over into like the dreamscape as well.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of that.
No, it is.
Anyway.
It's wild. And also obviously, if you've got people who have like who are neurodivergent versus the neurotypical people, you've obviously got that difference coming in as well, because obviously people who have anxiety, like anxiety disorders and things like that, they are obviously in a constant state of like, you know, flight or fight,
Fear.
or fear,
Yeah.
or something. So they're more likely to trigger dreams, which is one of like a cause of dreams is basically your flight or fight response, which is when your basically the amygdala, your big survival brain.
Lay those big words.
Yeah, it's a big brain moment here. So the amygdala, which is the brain associated with obviously the survival instinct, and then your flight or fight response. Funny story or fun fact: there's actually 3 responses due to trauma. There's flight, fight, and freeze, which I don't think. Well, I can't say I don't think a lot of people know, but I don't think a lot of people realize that freezing up is actually a trauma response, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know it until like I think this year as well. I found out through TikTok.
I found out in university that there's a freeze response, because anyway, we can discuss that a bit later, just like how that affects dreams. But essentially what it means is your brain, because you're in this like flight or fight state, your brain is getting you ready to deal with whatever is making you feel that way in a dream. So like that flight or fight causes you, like that anxious state that you're in causes you to dream, so you can prepare for whatever's causing those issues.
Thanks, brain, for making me go through things twice, essentially. Also, speaking of
I'm thinking
an
of
anxious
it like,
state.
So in terms of stress and like flight or fight, so in high school, I remember it was in matric, my last year, before both of my like last year math exams.
Oh no.
I had dreams before both of those exams. Like they had nothing to do with math, right? But they had to do with the exam. So what happened is what happened in my dream was I was like late for the exam, because obviously you need to get there a certain time. You have to be sitting like 10 minutes before the exam starts. Everyone needs to be seated.
They don't even let you in, I think, after that.
Exactly. So you have to be there 10 minutes before, seated in your seat, and then you wait for all the, you know, things that have to happen. So in my first dream, in like my prelim exams, what had happened is I dreamt that I'd been locked out of the study of the hall that we were writing in just before, like it was like 2 minutes after that, like it was like a minute or something after that 10-minute like time period had hit, and I was like I'm here, I'm literally here, please let me in. And that was basically the dream before my first math exam. And then for finals, this one was, I think, even worse.
No.
So what ended up happening is, at least in this dream, I managed to get into the hall and I was sitting down. And then there was like 5 minutes before we had to all be seated properly. And I was like, I really need to pee. So I
Oh no.
went, and the bathroom was just, so it was like the hall, then you had like the hall's entryway, and then the bathroom was like right there in the entryway. So I ran out, went to the bathroom. I didn't even take 5 minutes, but when I got back, the doors were closed again and they wouldn't let me back in.
Lovely.
Yeah, and my brain was like, and then I was obviously not like, because also with math, it was giving, like, I had like test anxiety when it came to math specifically, because I just was not doing well, and I would freeze up every time. There we go, my freeze response got triggered when I was writing a math exam. So my brain was like, okay, you can't control how you're going to do in the math test, but you can control what time you're going to get there, and now you're going to freak out and make sure that you're on time.
Honestly, thanks, brain. Like, the whole thing of focusing on what you can control rather than all the stuff you can't is also a huge thing. And that helps with my anxiety, at least, because I know that, you know, there's only a certain amount of things that I can impact or affect.
Yeah.
And sort of like understanding and internalizing that has also actually affected like my stress dreams. I will say that I don't get as many. Okay, that's a lie. I get stress dreams. Most of my dreams are stress dreams. Either that or they're just weird, and clearly have like some deeper meaning. But I either forget or I'm so lazy to interpret.
Yeah. No, it's hectic. Like just the way that your mental state can affect your subconscious. And I'm just
like it's crazy. Like even as adults, like we still have very like, well, like, okay, for instance, very common dream is taking a test, like being at school and taking a test. And like I think so many people still have that dream like well into their adulthood, and it's weird because, you know, we're no longer in school. When I did some research, it was kind of like they compare, you know, school to being like your first job. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, when you have that dream, it's most likely related to pressure within your career, your work. For instance, like a new challenge is coming up, or you feel that maybe you're not equipped to handle the new thing. You feel like you're being evaluated and tested and challenged, and maybe you will come up short. That's an anxiety thing, you know.
Yeah.
I know for me, weirdly enough, a lot of my dreams now are like, instead of taking the actual test, it's like the fact that there is a test, but I'm late for it as well.
Yeah.
Like just like you, like I even, and it's not even just school. It's like I have a job, or I have a work thing that I have to get to, or it is a test at school. Or the other day it was someone's wedding, which is very weird. No, it was my own wedding. But then like it's always like, I can't find the clothes I'm gonna wear. I don't know. And even in the wedding dream, I didn't have a wedding dress.
Oh, wow.
It was the day of my wedding, and everyone was there waiting for me, but I didn't show up. And the whole dream is just me screaming and crying and trying to get done, like, and leave the place, but I can't leave the place to get to where.
No, exactly. I had a dream like that as well. Like, it was pretty recent. It was like maybe in the last month. I had a dream like that. I can't remember what was going on at the time, but I also was like, I was getting ready for something, but everything was just going wrong. And it was like I couldn't get ready. My shoes were missing. I had to do my eyeliner like a million times, but it just wasn't working. Just the one eye wasn't working, so I took it all off and I was on to the next thing. And then the dress I had on wasn't fitting, and it was just, I can't remember what like the plan was. I think I was headed to like a party or something, and that I was late for it, and it was like my party as well, and I was just like, it's
always our thing that we have to be at, and then everyone else is there.
It's the worst. It's honestly the worst.
I hate it. I'd rather literally like have a near-death experience in my dream, and it would be less stressful than it would be,
you know,
to do this.
You know why I think that is less stressful? Is because with like the getting ready, it's something you do every day.
That's true. I don't nearly die every day.
Exactly. You're constantly like getting ready to go somewhere. Well, not necessarily, but you're constantly doing things in your daily life.
But bro, that sentence that you said now is existential hell. You're constantly getting ready to go somewhere. Sounds like my version of absolute hell.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
jeez, never say that again.
I won't. But yeah, like you're just doing a lot of daily things, and I think if you dream about it, it's a lot worse.
True.
If you can't get those things done because you know you can do them.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because you know you're capable, but you just can't.
But it's like, because obviously I'm an anxious person, and basically, like whenever I go somewhere, like if I go out with a friend on Saturday, right? So I have a plan. I have a plan in my brain. I wake up at this time. I shower at this time. I eat at this time. I get ready. I leave at like an hour before,
And you have to know a week in advance.
Yes.
So you can plan out your routine and your strategy. I do the same thing. I love the comfort of routine.
Exactly.
Very helpful.
So when I get a dream like that, where I can't, like where everything, like everything is happening at the same time, and I can't get these things done that I normally can get done, it freaks me out even more.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Hey, stress dreams.
Why
do they flippin' exist? I'm stressed enough.
I know.
Dealing with it in my dreamscape is not okay. Okay, I won't say that because dreams are a reflection of your subconscious, and they do help you unpack things. Like, I know you have a whole section on this as well, how it's like therapeutic and stuff, and I do agree to some extent. But sometimes dreams are just very unhelpful.
Oh no, definitely. Like especially those really vague ones where you're just like, I don't know what you're like. What? Okay, so actually I was reading about this. So when it comes to like, because when you're asleep, the reason why your dreams take on an illogical like persona, so to speak, or the way why you have like really weird dreams, like things that don't make any sense, is because I think your frontal cortex isn't awake and processing these things. So it's like the back of your brain that is busy. So it's all the wild shit that comes out. Yeah. Because your brain isn't able to actually logically process what you're going through.
That makes so much sense. That makes a lot of sense. It also ties into something I'm going to talk about.
It's really crazy. It's very interesting just to see that, like, the different parts of your brain, how it interprets like life.
Yeah, I mean, logically, that your brain is a very complex thing. It's meat with electricity.
Literally.
But like that, each part of your brain has a core function and stores like valuable information and is capable of running this whole show.
It's hectic.
It's crazy.
It's really hectic. And yeah. So just off of that, I just wanted to say, like, obviously we've been talking about stress dreams now, and there's a whole different array of dreams that you can get, especially. Okay, so also I found out that there's a difference between nightmares and stress dreams. So, or like negative dreams. Negative dreams are like slightly inconvenienced. Like you're not waking up in terror, screaming, basically. It's just like you're more of in an anxious state, or like you're just more upset rather than you are, freaking out. Which I found quite interesting. And then nightmares obviously are the ones that cause you to literally like freak out and wake up because they're like
be terrible.
really creepy. Funny story just on nightmares. I had a nightmare I've had. For people who don't know, I don't like snakes. I really don't like snakes. They are they just don't make sense to me.
They shouldn't exist. No. They don't have limbs.
They're wild. I really don't like snakes. Anyway, and the funny thing is I know a lot of my logical brain knows the facts about snakes and like what makes them dangerous and what to do to avoid them and things like that. But I see
Okay, Girl Scout.
I see a snake and I want to run away.
Yeah,
Like my
that's a valid
first response is to run.
Yeah.
Like, no jokes. So I had a dream once. This was more, I think, a nightmare for me because it was just, I hated it. I don't know why I dreamt about this, but I dreamt that I was in my bed. So I was dreaming about being in my bed, and I could feel things like slithering over me, and I didn't know what it was. So in the dream, I go and switch on the light, and I like rip open the blanket, and there's just all these snakes like slithering over my body, and I literally woke up in a panic, switched on my light, ripped open my bed, and I could still see like the snakes and things like slithering over. And it took me
Disgusting.
I know. It took me a whole like 5 minutes just to calm down and realize that they weren't there, and that what I'd experienced was essentially just a really vivid nightmare, and it was horrible.
Absolutely valid. Who wants to dream about snakes? Like, okay, honestly, I would hold a big snake just once, because I think it'd be cool. I think the smaller, like, you know, those big, like, the ones you can like wrap around your shoulders like a
like
scarf.
the anaconda.
I would wanna hold one of those. Anything smaller, for some reason is a no-go for me. You know what freaks me out the most? Those little garden snakes and shit that are like tiny and thin and slithery, and they wriggle so fast, like worms also. Okay, I'm getting off topic.
Yeah,
snakes are disgusting, and no one should dream about them.
So that was horrible.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, and we know the distinction, I don't think I've actually had as many nightmares as I think, because most of my dreams are stress dreams, probably. And I class them as nightmares because, to me, nothing's scarier than missing work.
Oh no, true. I mean, I suppose you could just say that nightmares are like, I mean, that's probably a personal
oh yeah, no,
classification.
Look, just,
but I mean the broad spectrum.
Yeah, it's good to kind of see the distinction and sort of like now be able to like look at and analyze, like, okay,
it's more a negative dream.
This was a nightmare, or a negative dream.
Yeah.
What are some of the other types?
Well, there's obviously you get recurring dreams, which I don't think I've really experienced. Like, maybe there's a common theme.
Well, I've experienced them. I used to have them more when I was a kid. There's two. There's the one I still have today, which is so mystical that I'll get into it now. The one I had when I was 5, there's like a park down the road from my house, and I just dreamt that like there was snow everywhere. It was like thick snow, and I slid down the slide into the snow. Lovely, typical 5-year-old dream. Nothing to analyze there. But this recurring dream that I've been having since I was a kid, up until now, is that, I think the location changes sometimes. Like sometimes it's like my neighbor's house. I used to babysit their little kid. Like their backyard for me as a kid was like this huge fun place to explore, and that features a lot. The last time I had this dream, it was like Houdini Spa. that was the location. So I was like, hey, we on vacation, baby. Anyway, but the whole theme is that there's this secret pool. It sounds weird, but it's like I basically discover something like this hidden section that I previously didn't know about, and it's clear to me that no one else knows that it exists. And I like climb over this fence, and like I explore the area, and there's like it's beautiful and it's like peaceful and tranquil, but there's like something super mystical about it as well. Like the air is just different, and it's clearly like just like a like a typical dream, like it feels magical and different. And I've never actually spoken about it out loud, because I'm just saying like, ooh, so there's this pool. Okay, that's not cool, man. But like honestly it is. Like every time I find it, I'm like, oh, we're here again, you know, like I
Neat.
found this again. This is so cool. I didn't expect
Yeah.
it to be here. And I honestly, I have it every like few years. It's not like super recurring.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking about it, what does discovering the secret sort of hidden, like unfound part, an untouched part, like place? Maybe it's like a reflection that I'm discovering something
In your brain.
within myself.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Sinjay. Freud. That's for you, my man.
For all the psychologists and people in the comments section, please tell us. What does this mean?
What does this mean? I need to know. So yeah, that's the only two recurring dreams I've
Hectic.
ever had.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever really had a recurring. Like maybe years ago, I would have like dreamt something, and then it would have kind of been like a continuation on that dream.
Oh yeah, I've had those too. That's fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that thing where you're like having a really dope dream and then you wake up and you're like, no.
Yeah. It's
And
usually
then you try and go to sleep and then you continue the dream.
That's only happened to me maybe like once or twice, and all the rest I'm so upset about. Like how
I've
dare
had it
you,
a few
brain?
times.
Sometimes you need serotonin, and you're just denying it to me right now.
Right? Imagine, honestly, imagine the dreamscape was something that we could control and stuff. Like if I could actually choose to continue a dream, because literally, like when I realized that this is because I become sort of aware sometimes in those ones, and I'm like, oh cool, next next episode on Q Self-Conscious, here we go.
But
boys.
doesn't that then fall more into the category of like lucid dreaming?
I was gonna say, but the thing about so the whole what is the definition of lucid dreaming? You know?
No, like I think it's basically where you are aware of your dreams, but you don't you can actually somewhat control them.
So I did a mondeling one.
Is it?
I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I want to be different. I'm built different.
Oh, you built
but
different.
In Afrikaans, ek is anders gebou.
Wow. Okay,
Sorry.
so
Okay.
just on that, before we carry on, so
Yes.
lucid dreams are dreams when you know that you're dreaming while you're asleep. So it feels vivid and real, and you may even be able to control how this action unfolds as if you're directing a movie in your sleep. So that's what a lucid dream is, so that everyone is aware of what's going on. And now I know too, and we're not telling you guys a bunch of lies.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's like you said, you become aware first, and once you're aware, then you're able to take control. I've only had it less than a handful of times, and it's always thrilling. Sometimes I'm still limited though. I don't know if you've had flying dreams before, right?
I don't think so. All my dreams, I think, are pretty much grounded dreams. I don't like flying.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because I was like, what? Everyone has a dream where they can fly. But yeah. So for instance, one of my things is that sometimes when I have a lucid dream, I'll try and fly. And my stupid ass brain, I swear, I never stay airborne. It's always running and jumping really high up, and then I'll keep that momentum, and then I'll inevitably come down again.
So astronaut,
So it's not flying.
like space jumping, spacewalking.
It's space jumping. Yeah. I get frustrated. So it's still it's not like you can do anything, I don't think. Or maybe you train your brain.
Probably.
I know in the mondeling and in some of the other stuff I've watched, the whole thing is that it's like an exercise in your control, and there's stuff that you can do when you're awake. Some people they write symbols on their hands or whatever, so that they look at it and they know, okay, I'm awake.
Okay.
Or they start to do checks, you do physical checks, and if you keep these checks up every day, you start to incorporate them into your dream world as well.
Interesting.
So one of the things is you count your fingers, and obviously in real life, there's 10 fingers, but there's a thing that many people experience in dreams is when they count their fingers, they have more fingers on each hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually have heard that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was also in Teen Wolf.
I think that's where I heard it then.
Yeah. So like, first of all, that's pretty freaking weird to look at, and it's so jarring, especially once you've already gotten used to this action and being aware, oh, like, okay, cool, 5 fingers, 5 fingers. When you do the repetitive action in the dream and you see more fingers, your brain will be like, oh,
That's not normal.
oh, that's not normal, I must be dreaming.
Yeah.
And same thing, like you can try and focus on something like walls or painting or whatever, and if it's like slippery, if it doesn't come into focus, that's also like a cue.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Like,
Yeah.
isn't it also maybe a case where they where it's like slightly altered, like the world has like slight differences in?
Yeah, like if any like normal like checks that you do, like to make sure that your world is still grounded and whatever, it's just the repetitive action and the awareness. So if you do that enough and you do it to a point where you begin to bring it into the dream world, that's what, you know, triggers it and makes you aware. It's like, because you're so observant and you're aware of everything now, you can notice the differences.
That's wild.
It's so wild. It makes me so curious to see if there's anyone on this earth who just like absolutely goes ham every night and just, you know,
has an absolute
I don't know, Liam Neeson's everyone in their dreams every night.
But doesn't,
so cool.
like, I don't know if this is, if any, like, I don't know if you know, but wouldn't that make you more tired though?
That's a good question. I think so, because like, for instance, if I have a stress dream or like a nightmare, I feel drained afterwards. So you would most likely feel the same way if you're exerting, because it's not your body, it's your brain that's getting, you know, the action. So
yeah, because I mean, wouldn't you then be thinking logically as well?
Yeah, that's true. You would actually be using all of your brain cells at once.
Yeah, like,
Okay, in the back lobe.
yeah.
Actually, wait. Because you're aware, does your frontal lobe become activated? Because remember, you're now processing stuff. Because you have to. This is something we need to look into.
Yeah.
Very
if anyone knows and can like
shout at us.
Please, I would be very interested into knowing if that is
if
a
you've
thing.
ever lucid dreamt, if you have any experiences, please. I find this stuff so interesting.
Yeah, dreaming is weird.
Yeah.
Have you, like, for me, I know, I think you and I briefly spoke about it like ages ago, but like deja vu dreams, those are wild. I am not gonna lie to you, because those are crazy. Because I'll be going about my day, just casually doing a thing, and then I'll be hit with this deja vu, but I feel like I've like actually lived this. Like, I've seen this play out. Like, obviously with normal deja vu, you kind of are like, oh, this is familiar, but this is like vivid, as in seen it like play by play essentially.
Well, okay, so you would say there's a distinction to when you've had, like, when you have deja vu normally during the day versus when you've dreamt it before.
Yes, yeah. Like, for me, that's just a personal thing. Like, I mean, obviously with me, with my deja vu in general, I feel like I've lived the thing pretty, like, I'll remember exactly what's going on.
You'll get the details.
Yeah, but if I've like dreamt it, that, like, because obviously I'll have a bit of a memory that I've like dreamt it before, whereas versus like the normal deja vu, I guess.
Yeah, you can tell the difference.
There's like
and that's what trips me up. Like, you know, have you ever watched The Matrix?
No.
Okay. No, I'm kidding. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh my god, you haven't watched The Matrix?
Oh my god.
You don't like, oh my god, you're missing out on so much of life. I mean, it's a good movie, but it's definitely aged. Anyway, so the concept is that this dude's not in the real world.
Yes. No, I know the gist of it.
Okay, I don't know what you know.
I'm telling you now that I know the gist.
Okay, thank you for telling me.
I don't know the details, but I have the vague idea of what the situation is.
Okay, so there's this scene where he walks past a black cat in an abandoned house.
Yeah.
And then he goes back and he walks past a black the same black cat again.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, deja vu, you know. And then one of his companions is like, oh no, there's no such thing as deja vu here. It's a glitch in the matrix, you know. Which I'm sure you've heard before as well. Like
Actually, I will tell
Yeah.
you my theory, like something I've heard about deja vu now.
Okay.
But
Okay,
carry on.
actually, just tell me
Okay.
because that's what.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've like obviously, you know, we have people. There's obviously can't even speak.
Make word.
Big brain, no word. No. So essentially, what I remember is kind of someone, probably a Tumblr post, you know, as one does, but they were basically saying that, you know how different dimensions, like people are trying to prove how different dimensions exist. So what they were basically saying is that when you experience deja vu, you basically slipped into like a pocket dimension where you,
Like a parallel.
yeah, where your consciousness has actually like experienced the thing, and then you go back to where you're actually supposed to be, and then you re-experience the same thing.
I've heard that before, and I used to really like that. However, I can tell you what actually causes deja vu.
Okay, give us the science.
So, like, okay, I mean, everyone knows what deja vu is. Like, you've done something for the first time in real life, but you feel like you've done it before, and you can see and hear, and all your five senses like have this memory, right? And the opposite of that is jamais vu, I think. Apologies if my pronunciation is off, but that pretty much means the opposite. That means you encounter something that you've never seen before, that's unfamiliar to you, but it feels familiar.
That's wild.
So, many people say that there's a few different scientific possible explanations. There's no real like one that the scientists are like, oh yeah, this is it. This
is the one.
So the one is called split perception, and what this means is that, say you go through an action, right? Say you're on a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Your brain is like taking in all the details and whatever, but what happens is that you don't process it at the same speed as you're taking it in, right? Or basically there's like a little bit of a fault with your memory. Like say you look across and there's a lake with a few ducks, and you don't really think much of it, you keep going on, and then you look and then you're like, oh my god, there's a lake with a few ducks, I remember this.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much what happens. It's like your brain doesn't kind of process it the first time, and then it's like this little split that happens, because like the memory isn't being retained the first time like fully.
Okay.
So when you do it, yeah, it happens again, and it feels like, oh, but
This is
I've done this, I've seen this. Yeah.
So basically your brain does a double take.
Yes, that's such a good analogy. Spot on, Donnie. Yeah, that's one of the that's sort of one of the things. The other thing is called the glitch, which I think is cool. And that's pretty much when, this is similar to what we were talking about earlier on, the frontal lobe and whatever. But it's like when like two different parts of your brain that like track present and past memory sort of collide and cross switches. So
oh no, that sounds horrible. That sounds so horrible.
Yeah, I can understand. It's like there's a glitch between your short and long term memory. So like the switches are crossed, and then it's kind of like the thing you're processing accidentally gets mixed up in your long term memory, but your short term, it's also in your short term memory because you're seeing it now.
Ew.
You're processing it now, and your brain's like, what? You know, because it's in two different sections at once. It's like crossover.
Completely freaking out.
Yeah, so like I like to picture it like a set of wires, and they're all like firing, and like this memory is going along the blue wire, but it accidentally crosses partially over to the red wire, and then it causes like this glitch, which is deja vu.
Crazy.
And I think both are very good explanations, but they do take like away the mystical woo out of it, and I like the woo.
Yeah. But I mean,
I really like it.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, I like the pocket dimension theory, just because it is a bit more woo, but it is still kind of a possibility.
Oh, definitely.
it kind
I
of
do believe in the multiverse and all that stuff.
because just like the Mandela effect, where for people who don't know, the Mandela effect is basically where a bunch of people experience one thing as something completely different to what's actually happened.
Yeah, or that people have like a specific memory of a specific thing being a specific way.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time I say specific. And like the rest of everyone else is like, no, this is what it was.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I could swear that it was like this.
So a good example is the namesake, the Mandela effect, where people were convinced that Mandela died in prison, but he
stupid Americans.
but he died much later. It was like
he was president.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he was literally
But the one thing I know, for me,
Yeah.
that was something that like I will die with this belief in my heart, that Pikachu's tail had a brown tip.
Yes, it did.
It was not at the bottom, it was at the top.
Like his ears. They're both black tipped, right?
Yes.
Or brown tipped. It would just make sense that
makes
his tail
sense.
was brown tipped. Like, I'm sure and then I actually did believe, like, no, they changed it. And then I Googled it, as one does, and then I was like,
Oh shit.
oh, I'm actually having an internal crisis because it was just plain yellow.
Yeah.
No, it was so wrong.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean,
God.
I feel like that kind of would relate back to like it ties back to that theory of like pocket dimensions where where like
I see.
yeah, it's weird. But
because how can so many people experience the same thing, but it's not in this current reality?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where deja vu goes as well. It's like,
yeah,
excuse me.
it's like it's so weird. You've experienced this, but you haven't. I was gonna ask you, you've had a deja vu dream, right?
Yes, I've had multiple.
Tell me about it.
I don't remember what it was, but I know it was like in high school. And I just
Same
like
for
the
mine.
evening before I would have dreamt something, and then the next day it happened. And I'm just like, brain, like, I don't mind going to school, but I don't want to relive my Afrikaans class twice.
Yours was your Afrikaans
Yes.
class? Mine was my Afrikaans class.
Why?
Okay, this is weird. This is the one deja vu dream I do remember. I do sometimes have them, but this is the one that always sticks out to me. Probably because I was young when it happened, and I was like, am I a time traveler? You know? Because it was the first time I'd ever experienced it. And I basically dreamt that we were taking a test in Afrikaans that I didn't know was going to happen. So it was like a stress dream and a deja vu dream. So it's like a surprise test. Or possibly I just didn't know. I just didn't know about it. They didn't give us a surprise test in high school. That's evil. Americans, what are you doing with your pop quizzes?
Yeah,
Okay,
jeez.
I'm not
Please.
I'm not here to talk about that. But I remember essentially at 14 years old being placed at a naughty table.
Oh no.
We had group tables, but I think I was just chatting too much shit, and my teacher moved me to like the front of the class in one of these tiny little desks and just gave me the test to write there. And I remember being like, oh my god, there's a test today? What the heck? You know? And I dreamt that. And the next day it happened. And I was like, oh man, if I knew this was going to be real, I wouldn't have chatted so much shit. You know? Damn.
I actually
my
can't
gosh.
remember what it was, but I do remember like the kind of the scenery, which was my Afrikaans class.
It's so weird that it's both
It's weird.
class.
Because I remember the teacher was my Afrikaans teacher. But yeah, it's crazy. But also just back to stress dreams. I just thought of in school, and kind of also deja vu, but it's kind
All
of
the
a bit of a
things.
mix, you know. I remember in grade 11, I think it was grade 11, our like biology class went on a like field trip to Body World, which is essentially an exhibit where they show you how so basically what they do is they preserve actual human bodies and actual animal bodies, and they essentially like take off all the skin and they like show you how the muscles look, and like this nervous
Fun.
system. It was really cool. I really enjoyed
I
it.
mean, yeah, look, probably really freaky. Like, I've seen pictures of the nervous system and like how everything looks without the meat. I need to stop calling it the meat. But yeah, I think that is cool. It's just also gross. Just like thinking about it.
No, but it was really fun. Anyway, so the night before, I dreamt like. So we had a permission slip that we needed to take with. We couldn't give it in like before basically getting on the bus. I don't know why. It's just actually so stupid. But I remember being like, it was on the fridge in the kitchen, and I remember in my dream, I remember taking it off the fridge and putting it in my blazer pocket because I always had a blazer, and getting to school, getting to the bus, and literally pulling out stacks of papers, but not one of them was my letter.
Rough.
So the next day, obviously, I like triple checked to make sure my letter was in my blazer pocket, and lo and behold, when I got there, like my letter was there, but there were stacks of paper also just coming out of my pocket.
That's crazy.
Like, I mean, obviously I had put stuff in there before,
but stacks.
well, not stacks, but you know, it was a good amount.
It's a lot of paper.
Shit in there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my brain is not working so well. What is going on? So it was like a stress dream of not having my letter.
Yeah.
With a bit of deja vu because this exact same thing happened.
That is weird. That is a
crazy.
weird mix. Oh, you could technically classify the Afrikaans one as a stress dream too. But I wasn't like too stressed, just embarrassed. I mean, who wants to sit at the naughty table? No one. Oh, okay. Here's a common stress dream. Also, okay, related to school in a way. Like, okay, well, not necessarily school, but a lot of people have the dreams. And it's even like a movie trope where you show up naked to school. But
never.
Being naked in public is like a hugely common dream. Have you ever had that dream? No.
Never.
Oh,
I don't have like common dreams.
Okay, you just built different.
I'm just built different. Obviously, I feel like the one that I do have is getting chased. But I've never had any of the other ones, like the teeth falling out.
That's also what I was going to talk about.
I've had like falling dreams, but I've never had like those really weird ones, which is like the teeth falling out, the being naked.
I'm naked a lot in my dreams. And for the longest time, I was always like, what does this say about me? Okay, I'm gonna do it. I wasn't gonna talk about this, but I'm gonna talk about it. So, there are two responses, right? When you find out that you're naked in your dreams. When you become aware, at least. Most people's response is going, oh fuck, where are my clothes?
Yeah.
You know? Or any of these people looking at me, where can I run and hide? Sometimes that's the response for me. Most of the time, I'm like, don't! I'm naked, dude! What up? It's so weird. Like, I'll be in class or literally walking down the street or whatever. And obviously, in reality, I do not want that to happen.
No, that's like so embarrassing.
Yeah, but I think you know what it is because, you know, it's something that would never likely happen. I would never be naked in public. Please God, it would never be naked in public.
Headlines tomorrow. Cape Townian woman running around naked in her suburban area.
Oh no. Oh guys, watch out, I'm in your hood. So like I think it's the awareness. It's the fact that the awareness kicks in because this is such an unlikely event. And I'm like, okay, cool. So naked, you know, what now? And then the decision is always carry on.
YOLO.
And then I literally just carry on the rest of the dream nude, right?
Yeah.
And I always thought, am I a freak? There's this weird.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, but basically there's like an actual explanation. So like people, the whole naked thing is you being vulnerable and exposed.
Makes sense.
We know you're more, vulnerable than you are without your clothes on, and people who respond to it by feeling like shamed or embarrassed are, the whole meaning behind that is they're afraid of like losing their power and assertiveness, or afraid of being not power and assertiveness, like they're afraid of like being exposed, like seen for someone that they're not usually projecting as.
So basically being
like your flaws on display.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's basically like you said, not the being the persona you present to the world, essentially.
Almost like imposter syndrome kind of vibe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the spin-off of that is like, if you are fine with it, then it's like a desire to be like seen and heard and acknowledged. Like, look at me,
I'm naked.
Yeah. It's just like you want to be, seen for what you're doing and what you're putting out there, but you're not, and you just want to like shout at people and be like, look at me.
Yeah.
So that's something fun I learned about myself.
Hectic. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have known until I researched, because it's always something I thought about that I was like, what the heck is with me?
Excuse me, brain.
Is this gonna turn into a problem?
But that's so fascinating to know, like the kind of the reasoning behind the dreams.
Very much.
Like I know we discussed like what dreams are caused by, and I know we briefly touched on like the emotional state. So basically dreams can also be caused by your emotional state. So essentially what happens is your brain can function at a more emotional level when you're asleep. So you can basically deal with more emotions while you're sleeping than you would awake, because when you're conscious, I think it's like when you're conscious of your feelings, you kind of disregard some of them because you don't want to deal with them right now. Whereas when you're asleep, your brain is like, lol, you have nowhere to run. You are not conscious of what emotions you're feeling and like what you can and can't like essentially deal with. So you kind of just deal with everything. So that kind of makes sense that you're like I think maybe it would come up more when you've been threatened with your insecurities, I guess. Or like when you're in that emotional state of, can someone just see me? Yeah. That makes sense to me.
That does make sense.
Like, I'm in no means a psychologist, but it just, my logic brain says that makes sense.
That's so fascinating. That because we're so bad at dealing with our emotions in real life, I mean, some of them we do deal with and we can deal with, but if we don't have the capacity and we put it away, then our subconscious is just like, oh God, if you want a job done, you better do it yourself.
Yeah. It's weird that your brain can deal with a lot more emotions when you're asleep than when you're awake. Because they say that your brain can make connections regarding your feelings that your conscious self wouldn't make. So
what are these electric meat sacks up to?
I know,
man? This is so cool.
Because I know, I've heard people when they're starting off with a new venture or something like that, where, or if they're in a situation where they're not happy with something, their subconscious will essentially say, bitch, you're not happy in this situation, you need to make a plan to get it out. Because sometimes when you're in certain situations, you find yourself being content, and then you get those dreams where you're just like, what the shit is going on here? And then it's actually your subconscious trying to tell you you are not happy with where you are, but you refuse to see it when you're awake, essentially. Which is really fascinating.
It's mind-blowing, man. because it's just the whole thing of your consciousness being divided. And like, you think about it, you are essentially your brain.
Yeah.
Right? But your brain also knows better than you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it controls so many functions, executive functions. It runs your whole body.
Yeah.
It learns, it processes, and it even does stuff like this when your conscious brain self can't deal with it. Your subconscious then kicks in and deals with it.
It's like, hey, time to get your shit in order. But I as you were speaking, I was kind of just thinking it would be interesting because your brain, I think, when you're conscious, controls a lot more functions than when you're sleeping. I think that's why you have a bigger like emotional capacity to deal with things when you're sleeping than when you're awake.
You just took a fat, steaming dump on Sigmund Freud's brain, mate. Oh my god, that is so...
I mean, think about it. It makes sense if you're like, I mean, like it makes sense if you're not like, if you as a person are not doing something, you obviously have a bigger capacity to do something else.
Yeah, our brains' calendars are free. They're like, okay, cool. We're in bed, don't need to eat, don't need to pee, don't need to like, all we're thinking about is cool, breathing. Check, I got that. So
making sure you get enough rest.
Yeah, let's do some other stuff. What can we schedule for tonight,
Yeah. What trauma can I process for this person tonight?
Oh no, my brain tries to do that before I fall asleep already. Hey, remember when you were talking to that waitress and she was like, hey, enjoy your food, and you were like, oh, thanks, you too. Thanks, brain.
But yeah, that's actually wild. Like, I feel like that makes sense.
It makes so much sense.
If anyone wants to dispute this with me, please, I would love to hear your thoughts on why our brains can take a lot more emotions while we're sleeping than when we're awake. I would be very interested to start a conversation around that. So please,
100%. Like,
tell us.
Oh my god, so much of this stuff is so interesting. Like, I feel like we could talk forever about like the brain alone or dreams alone and our experiences with dreams. Like, there's so much to unpack.
I know. And like another form, like these are obviously now we've mentioned like dealing with emotions and then the fight or flight cause of dreams. But then obviously your dreams also help for memory, apparently. So it's wild, dude. It's wild. So basically what they say is that the purpose, so this is the theory of like one of the causes and why they think it's possibly why you have dreams. So one widely held theory about the purpose of dreams is that they help you store important memories and things you've learned, get rid of unimportant memories, and sort through complicated thoughts and feelings. Okay, basically sleep helps store memories essentially. So if you learn new information and sleep on it, you'll be able to recall it better than if asked to remember that information without the benefit of sleep. How dreams affect memory storage and recall isn't clearly understood yet, but dreams may help the brain more efficiently store important information while blocking out stimuli that could interfere with memory and learning.
That's so cool. Is that where the joke about like sleeping on your textbooks some of the knowledge came from?
Funnily enough, in my like last 2 years of high school, like for my exams, what I used to do is I would go to sleep pretty early, like 9 o'clock. I would go to sleep, but I'd get up at 3 o'clock again.
Oh god.
And study till like 4 or like to 5, and then I'd go back to sleep. I think I woke up a bit earlier than that, but anyway, the gist is I woke up in the middle of the night to study, and I found that actually helped me retain a lot more information.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, damn. Okay. So I feel like this holds truth to me.
Yeah. I remember actually trying to do that for, I don't know if it was an exam or if it was a test. I set my alarm for like, I think it was 4 o'clock. 4:20 to be exact, because I thought it was funny. Um, and I looked at that alarm and I was like, ha! Nope.
Lol.
Went straight back to
Yeah.
sleep. The discipline that people have for getting up while it's still dark, I
Yeah.
cannot imagine. Couldn't.
No, it was, like I said, it was only the last 2 years, but it was only for certain subjects that I felt not as confident in,
Yeah.
or that I really wanted to do well in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like everything. Like, I did not get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to study math.
Oh, I thought that would be okay. Yeah, no, but you don't have to like
No.
remember stuff for math. It's practice.
No, it was literally like, I remember it was like geography and biology and like my memory.
Yeah, those are like pretty
Subjects.
content-heavy subjects. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I can vouch for that. I don't remember having any dreams per se, maybe like about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting to think that your brain. But then again, it goes back to what I said just now. Because you're not doing anything while you're sleeping, what you've just learned is at the forefront of your brain, and your brain's like, well, we better process this now.
That's true. That is true. Like, it's like if you watch a movie before bed and sometimes you dream about like the characters or like the stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's the last thing you remember.
And your brain's not doing anything else, so I mean, it's got to keep itself busy.
Yeah.
So it's wild, dude. And but also, interestingly enough, apparently you can be diagnosed with a sleeping disorder if you have continuous nightmares.
That's crazy. Oh, actually, that makes sense. I did like a little bit of research and it kind of delved a little bit into sleep disorders. I didn't get much into it, but I remember being there because sleepwalking is also classified as a sleep disorder. So anything that disrupts your sleep pattern can be classified. So it makes sense why nightmares would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's it called? When you have night terrors.
Night terrors. Yeah. That makes sense.
Whole
But I
other
think
level,
that's I think that's when you have like severe like PTSD, I think.
Very much so,
Yeah, but I'm just basically they say that because obviously there's sections in like articles where it's like, when do you need to go see a doctor about your dreams? And they basically say as soon as your dreams start interfering with your sleep, you need to go see a doctor. Which makes sense.
That whole thing about night terrors and PTSD further corroborates the theory that, or the thing that your subconscious uses the time to process your trauma or whatever you're going through. But now imagine you have PTSD, man, and you've seen some shit and your brain's just like, oh, gotta process it every night, and you're like, wait, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah,
that's terrible. I mean, man, if you guys out there have night terrors, I'm sorry. I hope you get through it.
But it's like sleep paralysis as well.
Don't talk to me about that. I hate that. I've only ever like had it once or twice, and it's.
I don't think I've ever experienced it, so touch wood. But yeah, it's it's yeah, I don't know, hey.
Yeah, it's not good. I know. I've read also that like some of, I don't know if it was, sorry, I know that something else also tied into like sleep paralysis, when you're not able to shout out for help. Oh, so like if you're in a dream, I don't know if you've ever had this, and it's something really scary is happening and you're like screaming and you're shouting but nothing's coming out. You're not making any sounds. That's also a little facet of sleep paralysis. It depends on the extent. Like if
sense.
you are still if you wake up and you're still not able to shout just yet, that's definitely sleep paralysis.
Hectic. I feel like I have had that before, where I have like not been able to like scream in a dream, and obviously not being able to get away as well is just hectic.
The helplessness sucks.
Yeah, The helplessness is crazy. But another thing, I don't know if you've ever had this, but medications and foods can actually trigger dreams as well.
My mom used to say that cheese gives you nightmares. So I'm wondering now if that's valid. I always thought she just told me that because I'm a mouse and I used to go around when no one's looking and steal pieces of cheese. But that makes sense though. Like certain like chemical compounds or whatever can affect. Tell us more.
So basically it's the same with hormones. So hormones and like obviously like certain foods and medicines trigger obviously different chemical reactions in your brain, and that causes you to dream more vividly or have more disturbing dreams or more negative dreams or whatever the case may be. Like I know for me, funnily enough, I can't drink certain teas before going to sleep.
Interesting.
So like anything that's like a berry tea, like I used to have, what is it? It was like blackcurrant tea or something like that. I used to drink that in the evenings because I do like having a cup of tea in the evenings. Not like before I go to bed, but you know, in the evening, like a few hours before I go to bed. But I think I was drinking that tea for maybe like about a week, and I was getting like really vivid dreams, like heckin' like really vivid. I can't remember what they were, but I do remember that after like stopping with that tea, I was fine again.
That's wild. I mean,
it was weird. It was very weird.
I mean, it does make sense if you think about like people who, not necessarily witches, like there's like a whole facet on TikTok of people who like maybe not like practicing witches, but who like to educate themselves about like the different herbs and like different things that you can use that have effects on your body and your mental state. And there are like certain herbs and stuff that can give you better dreams or certain kinds of dreams. So it makes sense that like that fruit and certain like compounds would do that as well.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because like it's literally any type of like berry. So I think it's more like the darker berries, like blueberry tea, like the blackcurrant tea.
Black of the berry, the sweet of the juice, the weird of the greens.
Yeah, literally. And I remember being like, I told my mom, was like, I'm having these really hectic dreams. And I think I only noticed because maybe like the one evening I didn't have my tea because it was finished or something like that. And then I was like, well, shit, this is the first time in a week I've been able to sleep right. But I find that it only triggers dreams if I drink it in the evening. So I can drink it in like the morning or the afternoon, but not
you have to like
close. Yeah. But I do typically just avoid them because I just don't want to deal with it.
I understand, yeah. I mean, who wants to like actually cause their own like nightmares and stuff?
Yeah. It's crazy how like external substances can affect how you dream and what you dream about.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah. And like there are also mental health disorders.
Oh yeah.
Obviously trigger a lot of dreams.
Oh yeah.
As two people with
severe
anxiety have said.
Oh yeah. Every night my teeth are falling out, or I'm driving an out of control car, like Need for Speed style, crashing into the walls. You know what's weird about those dreams is, number one, I don't have a license in real life or in my dreams. Like in my dreams, I literally can't drive, but I'm at the helm of the car, at the wheel.
Yeah.
And still, I have to drive for some reason. And I'm very close to causing accidents, or do cause accidents, and many times, and it's a stressful experience. But I'm enjoying it. I'm like, hell yeah!
Yeah, bro, let's go.
Oh my god. So I don't know what that says about me.
Maybe it's just because you want to be out of control in your life.
I am a very impulsive person. I do things on whim. You know, if it gets into my head and it can't leave, I'm probably gonna do it. like with dyeing my hair
Okay.
or getting like piercings or something like that. I don't apply
That
this to
makes
like
sense.
major life decisions. Don't worry,
But
future
more like
or
the
current
smaller,
employees out there.
but more just like
Yeah,
like
small
the
things that I can have
yeah.
control over. Yeah.
Mm, interesting. I wanted to ask, like, what is a dream that you like remember really well?
Um, it's a very long dream, so I won't like go into detail. But I had this a couple of years ago when I was still in therapy, and my therapist at the time, she's a really sweet lady. I found out that she actually really loved to dissect dreams. So then it became a thing of like, oh hey, I had this dream. Do you want to hear about it? And she's like, yes, because like normally when you tell people like I had the craziest dream, they're like, cool man. But essentially, myself and my best friend were at UCT. I will say this: a lot of my dreams still take place at UCT. I don't know why.
Wild.
Probably it's the infrastructure, like it's familiar to me. Also, the fact that you can't dream about places you've never been to, people you've never seen, makes sense. Anyway, so basically, my friend and I were at UCT, like, and I don't know what we were doing. It was dark, at night, and I don't know how it started, but essentially, like, the mafia found us, and we did something to piss them off, and it started this whole long chase. And we went to Italy, we went to like different places, and on the ground we found that it just wasn't safe because they kept finding us. So I was like, big brain moment, let's take to the seas, mate. And
Pirate Q.
it was scuffed as hell, because I just essentially found this. You know what it looked like? I don't know if you've ever seen like a boat in Minecraft. It's like this tiny little block of wood, essentially.
So a raft.
It was like a raft. It was a raft and it was just enough room for the two of us, like literally. And I had things that weren't paddles. Like I would just pick up stuff like sticks or like a cricket bat or whatever. And use those to steer. And picture, it's the Atlantic Ocean, my dude. And here we are on a tiny raft with cricket bat paddles, and I'm doing all the work. She didn't do nothing. Nothing. She was useless. If you're listening to this right now, I still hold resentment. I'm kidding. She actually fought the bad guys. She had some like knives, which I was like, how am I here with cricket bat paddles and you have knives? What is this?
Yes.
Anyway, so it was like this.
Your brain obviously has some clear favoritism going on.
You know, I'm not even the favorite of my own subconscious.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, it was like this whole trick, and like it was just, the journey was insane, and that's all I remember. And like it was a whole lot of chasing, but it was very different to any other chasing dream I had because it didn't feel the same.
Threatening.
Yeah, it didn't feel as threatening, and it was more like escape, like ooh,
like an adventure.
I felt like James Bond, but if James Bond was like real bad, like no training, no guns, no ladies,
just going on.
If he was just a dude, just James on a block, that's it. So that's the one I remember most. Like that's my longest dream ever as well. So yeah, is there a dream that you have in mind that you like remember to this day?
Well, I mean, I feel like the stress dreams are the ones I remember the most, the negative ones. But actually, while you were speaking, I did remember once. So my best friend and I, so she was studying in Potchefstroom at the time, and I was in Cape Town, studying. And I remember us talking that evening, being like, "Hey, I wish we could like just visit each other. It would be really nice to see each other." And that evening, we actually had a shared dream, like no jokes. So it was literally us hanging out in Porch for some reason there. I don't know why. But we were hanging out, and like we were like just hanging out. We went to like we went out to eat lunch. We
So
like
Nice.
just went out to get like coffee, and it was just so fun.
You dreamt the
And
same thing?
we had the same, like it wasn't 100% the same obviously, but the like we were together in porch and we were hanging out was the essential like
That's
baseline of
wild.
the dream. And I remember messaging her the day after and be like, hey, listen, did you dream about me last night? And she's like, yeah, I did. How did you know? I was like, because I dreamt about you last night. And we were just like freaking out for a whole hour after that. Just like, what the fuck? So yeah, that was like something I remember was like we really wanted to see each other, and then we just ended up having a dream, and it felt like we'd hung out.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so low effort as well.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
imagine you could hang out with people in your dreams.
like, I don't have the energy right now in real life. I'll catch you tonight. Like,
yeah,
also,
it's crazy.
I always feel so intrigued whenever someone's like, oh, I dreamt about you last night. You know, not for any gross reasons, but like I always always like to hear like what I'm doing up in someone's subconscious and like what.
Let me tell you though. Speaking of that, the other day, it was like last week, Thursday. I'm trying to think. So it was the day before I went to go visit my friend on the Friday. And that evening I dreamt about one of the guys from my high school that I have not heard from, not seen. Like I don't even know.
I had one like that too,
where.
actually.
But like also I was like didn't even interact with you in high school. Why am I dreaming about you? This is the wildest thing. I didn't even see anything to do with you during the day.
Yeah.
And it was just this weird dream of him sitting at a bar while I'm also at the bar. But I'm just doing my own thing and he's doing his own thing, and then I leave. It was so weird. But it was like I could see his face and I was like, why are you in my dream?
Question. Okay, first of all, you said you could see his face, right? I have a problem in my dreams. I almost have like face blindness in my dreams where I know it's that person, but I can't see the details of their face. So
oh no, it's always vivid for me.
That's so interesting. Cause like, and sometimes if I try and look at them, it just my gaze like slides right off. It's only sometimes that I get those, like that I get the vivid picture. I think one of the only people that I've had that with is my grandmother, and that was after she passed away. And my mom was like, "Oh, that means she was like visiting you and stuff." Anyway, so the face thing got me. Also, what I wanted to mention is like the whole being in people's dreams. It's also very significant when other people are in my dreams, because normally I have like a recurring cast of characters. It's mostly my parents and myself, I would say. I don't often dream about other people, and it's like fictional characters.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I've only had one dream ever about my boyfriend, and we've been together for 6 years. And it was that I was at a party and I was having a rough time. I was anxious and stuff, and so I went into someone's bedroom and I was just sitting there. And eventually, like, I got into the covers and stuff of someone else's bed, and I was just like, you know, wallowing in my misery. And he basically came in and like he was joking around with me and got me to laugh and stuff, which was really cool. And he ended up doing that thing where, I don't know if your mom ever did this to you, when you're like making up a bed and then she flips the sheets up to like, or the blanket up to go to the other side, and so that there's this moment where the blanket's airborne. And then you jump in and you fuck everything up. So like you're in between the bed and the covers. So he did that with me, like voluntarily. And then he was like, okay, get the hell out. I'm trying to make this bed of this person that you just knew. So that was the only dream. I've dreamt mostly about my best friend. And it's like just occasional ones. So it's very interesting whenever someone I know actually does pop up in my dream. And I'm like, what? That's so cool. You know? And then I want to tell them about it.
Yeah, no, it's like for me, it's literally whenever someone does, I remember vividly who it was and what we were doing, which is very weird because I remember in varsity, one of my other friends, she used to get a lift with me to uni, and she, like, the one day I was like, hey, I dreamt about you last night, and she was like, oh, what happened? I was like, I don't know, we were like in doing this other thing, and like it was just weird. It was like a normal day, but we were like
Yeah.
together, and you were motivating me for some reason. It was weird.
That
But yeah,
sounds
it's
wholesome.
interesting to see. It was very wholesome, but it was just interesting to see how like I'd never actually clicked that how vivid the people are in my dreams is something like unique to me.
That is really interesting. Like, even with the guy that you know, like, met in high school and never interacted with, like, he featured at one point in your life, you know, even if it was a tiny mediocre point, you know, his face is now locked in your memory forever, and your subconscious will never get rid of it.
No, it's just weird. It's just hectic. Like, kid you not. Like, I don't mind if you show me people I know, but please don't show me people that I have never had an interaction with.
Why? I would like more fun dreams about, like, my friends and stuff. I want us to do fun things. I never get to do fun things in my sleep. My teeth are falling out. I can't speak to anyone. You know.
I haven't had, like, recently. I haven't had many other dreams. But then usually it's when I do, it's pretty vivid.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. We're being awakened.
Hectic. We are. But yeah, dreams, man.
Weird.
They're weird, and it's just very fascinating to see how it differs from each person, and like the causes and the kind of tropes that come with dreams that people have that apparently I do not subscribe to. And speaking of subscribing, you guys should subscribe to us. Subscribe, guys. We just want to also take this moment to say thank you for everyone who's been supporting us so far. We really enjoy making these podcasts. And if you guys want to tell us about your weird and wild dreams, please let us know. We'd love to have a chat with you about that. Our socials are in our description box. And we have if you want to stay notified, we post on our Instagram just before we go live. So if you want to follow us on Instagram and keep updated with us, you can head there. Otherwise, you can find us on Twitter, and if you aren't able to get access to YouTube, we are on Google Podcast as well.
Spotify too.
Spotify as well. Thank you.
Unavoidable.
Yeah, so like I said, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to chat with us, please do. We'd love to hear from you. And on that note, we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.